know you had to cancel your European tour with Stuck Mojo due to medical reasons. Are you still planning to tour the European Union again?
Absolutely. We're actually working on some ideas to do that again next spring. Assuming everything goes well with my health and treatment and all that. But yeah, we're already putting out feelers and trying to make some stuff happen. Instrumental, our management is working on that, and without question, yeah, we're gonna do that. That's
cool, because I think from some of the people that have come into the Braingell chat that are from over there, they love the progressive metal and stuff like that. So, and you guys are probably one of the best progressive metal acts from Atlanta that I know of. There's a few there, but you guys still. I mean, your CD release party for Building the Towers was just kick-ass, as far as I was concerned.
I appreciate it, man. We really wanted to try to make that a, really good bill and, great show. And, we worked hard for that one. So we appreciate it. and it's true though. I mean, we were really bummed that we had to, cancel out of that tour and it was real short notice the way it all worked out.
Yeah.
We had to cancel. But when we went to the UK with Fozzy in May, and we only did 4 shows, but all those shows were packed, and we just got a fantastic amount of feedback. And we were on Facebook, a couple weeks later, and somebody started a street team. We didn't even at that point we didn't even know who they were. They just started a street team, and they're like going all around London or wherever they live and passing out our flyers and stuff still. And that was just really cool.
Yeah, that's great when fans just do that on their own.
Yeah, it was really flattering. We really dug that. So those guys have been great, and we felt like we had the opportunity to kind of make that happen over Eastern Europe, and since it didn't, we're just gonna have to get back on the horse and do it again.
And the past year, what bands have you enjoyed playing on stage with?
Well, the little run we did with Fozzy was a lot of fun. I've been a fan of them for quite a while, and Mojo as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that was real cool. We really pretty much everybody we've played with has been somebody we've wanted to play with this year. We kind of, because we were spending a lot of time working on the new album and things like that, we were kind of choosy about what we played, because we didn't want to do too many shows because it would take our focus away from getting the record done.
Yeah.
So, we like I say, we just picked and chose.
All right. Are you guys still hoping to make the band a full-time job? Because I know you do something on the side.
Well, it's kind of like, realistically, will that happen? Doubtful. I mean, the record industry has just been nuked by illegal downloading, and it's near impossible to make any money in it unless you're, a band at a really high level.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically like there's haves and have-nots in the business now. If it happened and we had the opportunity to do that, yeah, I think we would all just jump at it. That'd be really cool. But we've all got jobs and careers and that kind of thing, and it's just sort of a balancing act. Luckily, we've all got the ability to, next time there's a tour opportunity to, I'm self-employed. I can do whatever, I guess, but as long as my business continues to run. But we can take the time off and go and do what we got to do, and we need to take a month off, and everybody can make that happen.
What other Atlanta bands do you think people should know about?
Well, probably the band that I'm the biggest fan of in Atlanta is Void of Reason. I love those guys. They're friends of ours. Just really cool stuff. They're kind of like, I'm not necessarily sure you'd call them exactly metal, or if you'd call them hard rock or what. They're kind of like right there on the fence there, but they've got a lot of really good melodies, good riffs. They're good songwriters.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of cool vocal harmonies and that kind of thing, and I really dig those guys.
All right. And what advice would you give bands that are working hard for a record deal?
Well, again, the music industry has been really just beaten to death by the illegal downloading. It's a lot of bands will think, okay, you get a record deal and then you got it made. The label's going to pay for everything, and you just have to play the guitar or whatever it is you do.
Yeah. And
that's really not true. It's very much a do-it-yourself 78 punk rock kind of thing these days, unless you get to the level of a Disturbed or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to go out and you have to work it, and the labels don't have the money to invest in a band anymore.
Yeah, well, also what was it, that Korn video? You all want a single or something like that. It was given facts and stuff like that, and because I know a couple bands like Lowdown up in Atlanta. Brett just wants to get somebody to notice him, and I know he's like, we're busting our balls as hard as we can. So
yeah, and those guys are a really good band too. I mean, I had not really, some of the other guys had, and they were recommended to us for our CD release and everything, but I'd never seen them before that. But I thought they were really killer. But it's like. Well, I mean, Roadrunner, I think it just got announced this last week. They got bought out by Warner Brothers. I mean, they already had a stake in them, but
yeah,
it's just, again, there's haves and have-nots, and if you're on a small label, you get the record deal, and you're going to think, they're going to pay for everything, and it just doesn't work that way.
No, it never works that way. It never works out. I mean, it's like when Metallica first got signed, they're like, okay, we put a record out, distribute it, and we'll go on the road, and that's. To me, that's what your fan base is coming out from. Actually, you're touring, because I guess I'm old school. Metallica's like, we'll tour for 2 to 3 years, to support the album, and I think that's probably where you need to get, where a lot of these bands need to go, because somebody actually asked me about that. That question is like, well, what about bands that want a record deal? And I'm like, well. That's why I wanted to ask you about that, because you guys did get that record deal, and still busting your balls doing this stuff.
Yeah, and listen, Nightmare have been great, and we're happy to be with them and everything. But we paid for our own album to be made. It's just the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, if you're in a band, if you're a musician, you've got to play, and you've got to be in a band, and you've got to do it because you love to do it.
Yeah.
And you let the rest of it kind of happen. I'm not saying you just sit back and wait for it to happen. You got to put in the effort and put in the dues. But you got to be willing to be content, even if that never happens.
Yeah.
And I mean, because it took this band. We formed in our first iteration back in 2001, and jammed there were a few of us, and we jammed for 6 months or something, wrote some songs, and then we kind of just, let it go for a while, and then we got back together and whatever. But I mean, our first album didn't come out until 2008.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I mean, it took us forever, and you like I say, you got to play because you want to do it, and then go from there. But it's like the record deal is like the first of a million steps, because the next thing you got to do is you've got to get on tours and that kind of thing. And when you get on the tours, if you're a new band without a draw in a particular area or territory, then you're going to buy into that tour, whether it be the label pay for it or whether you're paying for part of the bus to subsidize the cost of the headliner or whatever.
Yeah,
you're going to be doing that. So it's like, it's not only you got to get the album made, but you've got to spend the money to get on the road. And what happens is, how do you balance paying to be on the road and maybe making it back with between a per diem or, merch sales or whatever, and maybe breaking even if you're lucky.
Yeah.
But you've got all your time invested in it too, and you've taken all that time off of work, which you're probably not making any money from it unless you got vacation or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like you've got a lack of money coming in from your employment, and then you've got money going out the door to be on the road.
Well, Well, there was some of even the major bands that played at like the Masquerade, since I was the goon there. They weren't making any money, even on merch.
Yeah, it's really a tough game. I mean, we've had a really crummy economy for the last several years. We had a big tour. It's right after Manifesto dropped. We had a big tour lined up with Tier. We were going to go out with them for a little over a month.
Yeah.
And that deal, we had all the numbers pretty much negotiated, and when it was time to do contracts and whatever, it sort of fell apart because basically they did the tour package. There were 3 bands coming from Europe. They didn't want to have to pay for 2 full tour buses.
Yeah.
Because the economy was so bad.
Yeah.
So that deal fell apart, and I think average attendance on that tour package was maybe 250 across the country.
Mm-hmm.
And so somebody's losing money on that. If because you got 3 bands, you got to pay them a decent guarantee.
Yeah.
It's a tough game, man.
You
you gotta do it because you love it.
Yeah. It's just like some of the DJs out here. We do this because we support the bands. How do you feel about internet radio stations that fully support just metal acts?
Well, it's huge because metal, even though metal is big right now, you're not going to turn on mainstream radio, and you're not going to hear Devil Driver or Chimera. You'll hear it on satellite, but
yeah,
that's really it. The Clear Channel radio stations don't play it. So for a band like us, it's been huge because nobody else has had our back. We've been in the Atlanta scene for 9 years now.
Yeah.
And we finally made it to Project Homegrown this year. Right?
And I've been playing you guys since Manifesto.
I know it. It's just funny because we've done a lot more than at least 9 out of 10 bands that have done Project Homegrown, and it just finally took the DJ Swan there to finally hear about what we're doing or whatever. The previous guy couldn't stand us. He was too busy promoting his own bands.
See, that's a little trick for all the listeners. Pay attention to who's the DJ because he's got his own act.
Yeah, totally. So no, internet radio has been a big deal for us. We really appreciate the fact that people have picked us up and played.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for your time and hope you get to feeling better and get your ass back on tour, because I know if you guys haven't seen Halcyon Way, these guys put on a great show. Steve can really get off and sing his ass off. John really puts on a show. Zane, everybody. So I want to thank you for allowing me to give you an interview.
We appreciate it, man. Appreciate all the support.